What's up, Tucson, Arizona? This is the Call Me Crazy Show, episode 234. We're over here at Public Access Headquarters. It is Saturday. We just finished doing the end of television. But before we sign out, dude, I want to talk about, you know how they're closing down public access for the month of June due to the fact that there's no budget funding to keep us open for the month of June. And today we received an email, and I read an article where the company Cox pays a money amount to public access to the city of Tucson, totaling $5.2 million. Apparently, every Cox customer in the city of Tucson and the surrounding area pays $1.38 tax, which is geared for public education and government TV. The company Cox got a total of $5,250,000 from the taxes that are being paid on the Cox bill. What I want to know, why is it that we're only getting $300,000 out of that $5 million? Because it says generously supported by Cox, and for all we know, Cox thinks that the city of Tucson is putting $5 million or sinking in $5 million into this place, when it's obvious it's not. And we found out today that we're only getting $300,000 out of the $5 million that Cox give to the city of Tucson. So what I want to know, why is it that the city of Tucson is keeping $4,800,000 and we only get $300,000? So that's my rant of the day. And thank you, Cox. I know you're not the bad guy. The city council is the bad guys. Fucking. What's up? This is Call Me Crazy, episode 234. Real quick, hey guys, as you can see behind me, we're at the public access parking lot in downtown. This is the official parking lot for public access. Okay? As I continue walking further, this parking lot here is not official public access parking. What I want to know, and what public access wants to know, why is it that the Fentons, who are owner of this parking lot, why are they not letting us use this parking lot? I know that for a fact that we can make arrangements and letting us use this parking lot, because it's obvious they're not using the parking lot for anything. So thank you, Fenton. Thank you. We had a hard time parking in here today when we had to film our own show because there was no place to park. So if the Fentons are watching this, please let us use the parking lot. You guys ain't using it, and we desperately need it, guys. What's up, Tucson, Arizona? This is Call Me Crazy 234, episode 234. And right now, a couple minutes ago, you could probably just watch me talk about Cox Cable and public access and the parking lot. So that's my stand on that. Episode 234 is the continuation of me talking about important stuff. But anyways, I know when Barack Obama became president, became president back in 2009 in January, he inherited a lot of problems left over from the Bush administration. And I've been reading this book called The Bush Tragedy, written by Jacob Weisberg. I highly recommend it. But anyways, there's a couple lines I underlined in this book in the chapter 1 and chapter 2 and in the introduction. And it still bothers me that the problems that George W. Bush created from the year 2000 to 2008 is still in our everyday life. For one of the most biggest examples is the fact that we're in Iraq. Okay, and here's the thing I found out, which is very disturbing. As we all remember, back in May 1st, 2003, that's the day when George W. Bush was on the aircraft carrier. Remember, called the USS Abraham Lincoln. And that's the day that he declared
uh, that he declared at the end of major combat and operations in Iraq were over. And it's now 2010 and it was still in Iraq. So it gets mind-boggling to think that George W. Bush was so stupid enough back then to think that the end of major combat operations in Iraq were over. That was back in May 1st, 2003. Yeah, little did he know that it wasn't over. That was barely the beginning of major combat operations. And then another thing that also got me thinking about what I wanted to talk about today on Carbon Crazy was when George Bush went to Yale University, George W. Bush. But here's the thing: our president before Obama, Bush told family member he didn't learn a damn thing at Yale. And now Yale is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. In the country, very prestigious, but it's very highly regarded in the world too. But George W. Bush's grades were not that good to be accepted into Yale. But we all remember his father, George H.W. Bush, and his father pulled some strings for him to get into Yale. But anyway, his father went through all this trouble to pull strings to get George W. Bush into Yale. And what does Bush tell family members? He didn't learn a damn thing. Then 30 years later, he was running our country. Very bad, very bad. Another thing I learned about Bush too, he had a tendency to get arrested. Once he got arrested once for a DUI in Maine. I know everyone gets DUIs in there, but here's the thing that really bugs me. He got arrested twice for pranks and rowdiness. And that's one thing I don't like from what I've been reading in this book, that he was he was a bully. He was very taunting of his fellow classmates. But for someone to be getting arrested for pranks and rowdiness, and I understand college. I went to college too also. I understand the mentality that comes with being crazy and all that. But when they get to a point where you're harming other people and with pranks and you find it very hilarious and funny, it's the kind of person I wouldn't want running the country. But he ran the country, he did. He ran the country into the ground. That's what he did. What about, I'm sorry. And I forgot the place where I was at. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, there was a man, his name was Paul O'Neill, that he was the first Treasury Secretary for George W. Bush, and he claimed that getting rid of Saddam Hussein was on Bush's agenda from the earliest days of the administration. And the earliest days of the administration is almost months before 9/11. So when George W. Bush went to the White House, he was already thinking about invading Iraq. And also too, the thing that bugs me too, he's not being held accountable, George W. Bush, for leading us into a war in Iraq. Remember, he said that we went to Iraq looking for weapons of mass destruction. That was not the case. He was lying. Dick Cheney was lying. The administration was lying. They were all lying. The White House was lying. There was never any weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They only told us that so they could give us a reason why to invade Iraq. And also, too, the false pretense of getting us into a war is very damning. So I've just been reading about this book for a couple of days now, called the The Bush Tragedy. I highly recommend it, written by Jacob Weisberg. But there are countless books about the many wrongs of George W. Bush administration. And I know he hasn't been president for almost a year and a half now. It's been Obama. But we can't forget all the trouble and failures that he has left behind. And we have to study these failures and mistakes that George W. Bush left behind. Because in order to make the future better, we have to learn from our mistakes. And George W. Bush made a lot of freaking mistakes. And it's funny, he's not in the news anymore. He's very low profile. You know, you would think with all that money that he earned, that he made, making money for, doing favors for his buddies when he was president, you would think that he would be out there doing a lot of charity work. You know, you would think he would be in the news for doing a lot of. Look at Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter hasn't been president in over 35 years, and he has done tremendous for the American people. He had done Habitat for Humanity. He had helped build homes. Remember a while back, Jimmy Carter helped get some hostages released overseas. You know, he's very well loved out there in the global community. You know, everybody embraces him. Same thing goes for President Bill Clinton. He's been doing a lot of work for Haiti ever since the earthquake. He did a lot of work for the tsunami victims. You know, they're up and about. Even George H.W. Bush, he was also helping out with the tsunami effort, and he does a lot of charity work. But you don't hear nothing too much about George W. Bush. You know why? Because he's at home sitting in a bathtub, wearing a cowboy hat, smoking a cigar, getting his dick sucked from a woman who's not Laura Bush, and he's counting wads of money that would belong to the American people. So that's what's been on my mind a lot. Another thing I'm also wanting to talk about, I found out a couple of stats, statistics that I found very interesting. Yeah, and I wanted to go over it again. And here we go. Alrighty, in politics for the year 2009, 10 with the amount of members of Congress who resigned. Okay. The name of the states in 2009 that failed to balance the budget on time, Arizona was one of them. Bills introduced in Congress, there were 3,259 bills introduced in the Senate, 5,347 bills introduced in the House. A total which comes out to 8,696 bills were introduced. 158 were passed. Only 112 were signed into law. What a waste of time. The number of states in the U.S. where medical marijuana is legal is now up to 13. In the business section of the U.S. in 2009, the United States gross domestic product was $14.3 trillion, which is astounding. The highest employment rate in the U.S. for a state goes to California, El Centro. Their unemployment rate was 30%, which means almost 3 or 4 out of every person living in El Centro, California, was without a job. Okay, McDonald's restaurants, a total of 900 McDonald's restaurants, new restaurants were opened in the U.S. In that same year, another 350 were closed. Alright, the amount of people who had joined Facebook in 2009 was 200 million people had joined Facebook. Okay, and here's a staggering fact. Average number of emails received per person in the U.S., never mind the fact that there are people who don't have email access, the average American gets 13,000 emails. I myself get 0 emails. Amount NASA spent to find out if there was water on the moon was $3 million spent per gallon that they used to go to the moon. To find out about the moon. Okay. In the year 2009, there were 47 million cases of swine flu, which is a high number considering that there's almost 370 million Americans. Okay, and then the number of species added to the endangered species list was 363 animals worldwide were added to the endangered species. The numbers of U.S. citizens arrested or convicted on terrorism charges, numbers at the 17. Okay. Germans who want to restore the Berlin Wall. We all remember the Berlin Wall was a wall that separated East and West Germany from communist Germany to democratic Germany. But 1 in 7 Germans want the Berlin Wall to be erected again. In 2009, the number of world languages in danger of becoming extinct, which is languages and dialect, it comes out to 2,500 languages in the world. The number of Sudanese women from Sudan who were flogged in July for wearing pants is 10. Okay, in 2009, the numbers of U.S. newspapers that were closed, including our very own Tucson Citizen, were finally closed with presses last year. There were 139 newspapers across the country that folded, which means they went out of business. Top grossing film of 2009, we cannot include Avatar because Avatar intake is included with the 2010 year. So the biggest film of 2009 was Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. It raked in $402 million for domestic intake only. The numbers of viewers who watched Michael Jackson's memorial in 2009 were 31 million. But the best viewing for a funeral ever, that award goes to Princess Diana. Back in '97, 33.3 million people tuned in. Most downloaded song of 09 was Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas. In 2009, there were 52 executions took place in the U.S. The amount of hot dogs eaten on 4th of July of last year, 2009, the U.S. public ate 150 million hot dogs on that day alone. For the year 2009, the amount of miles driven on U.S. highways totals 2.9 trillion miles. Okay. In 2009, square miles of Brazilian rainforest cut down was 2,705 square miles. It's a 74% improvement since 2004. So that means in 2004, almost 8,000 square miles of Brazilian rainforest was being cut down. So I guess that was pretty good. So I just want to let you guys know that the number for 2009, that was the number for 2009. And then the biggest gadget was, I guess, the iPod. And one more thing. For my vote for the most hated persons of 2009 is Kate and John Gosselin. I hate those fucks. I hate her. I hate him. Love the kids. I love those 8 kids. But Kate Gosselin and John Gosselin have no fucking talent, and yet the whole world makes a fucking media hoopla about them. Alrighty, guys. This was episode 234. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, the Fenton family, I know you guys are owners of that parking lot. I don't mean to talk smack about you guys, but please let us use the fucking parking lot. Also, I want to thank Cox Cable for giving the city of Tucson $5.25 million and only letting us keep $300,000. So, you city council quit fucking around and let us keep doing the fucking public access. I hate this bullshit of being closed for a month. We're open for 6 weeks. Now we're closed for June, and then we're going to be open for 6 weeks. Then we're going to be closed for another month, and then we're going to be open for 6 weeks. And it's enough to make you fucking go crazy. I had enough of this shit. Please make up your fucking mind. Let us go to channel 12. Channel 12 come to us. Just fucking make up your mind. You know, we want a sense of being a permanent home. So, city council, get your head out of your asses and do what's right. And Glassman, I know you left your position in the city council to go run for Senate. So that just goes to show he really cares about Tucson. Oh, I'm gonna go run for the Senate. So fuck off. Suck my cock and fuck off. You prick. Asswipe. The Corey